24-hour business plan.
Welcome to the 24-Hour Business Plan podcast channel. In this episode, we're going to cover off how you can actually use your competitors to your advantage. Because if we really truly understand what our competitors are doing, then we can actually figure out some strategies and tactics to outperform those competitors. So one of the questions we do get asked is, how much time should I spend on understanding our competitors? And I think it's really important. One of the things we look at is where's a competitor on their journey. We've got a really interesting way of mapping that out. And as an example, I often talk through Dilmah Tea. They're a well-known tea brand here in Australia, and I was lucky enough to chat on a different podcast to the son of the founder at one point, and truly understood where the journey their business had gone on, and went through all phases of a business journey. The first phase is normally, why do you start a business? Normally when you start a business, you're endorsed by somebody, or you know who your first customer might be. Otherwise, there's no, you wouldn't go start a business if you didn't think you were going to be able to make some money. And after that, you tend to drift into, okay, well, now I've got a couple of customers. How can I make it a little bit easier for them? And in their case, when they first moved into Australia, they were able to, do tea bags and do different flavors of tea and start building out products that were easier for the customer to buy and use. And then over time, as companies grow, you start thinking about, well, how can I scale up? How can I build a state-of-the-art factory? How can I make sure that, I'm not only picking the tea, but I'm actually producing the tea in all the different formats for the different countries we're in a really good factory. And you start moving through a phase we call making it happen. And then a lot of companies, that's as far as they get. Where companies start making some good margin, and this is where you need to understand where your competitors are at, is when they start being seen as the experts. I remember talking to Dilhan, the son of the founder, and he talked about tea like a winemaker would talk about wine. Well, of course, the peppermint tea would be only on this side of the hill and this part of the country and this sort of soil. And I'm like, I don't think there's a person that would understand tea more than him anywhere in the world. They're a true expert. And when companies look at you as an expert, they tend to be happy to pay a little bit more for that. Some companies even drift further right on this 5-point scale. And the fifth one is when you truly are, setting the standard. And a lot of that comes to looking at more purposeful things that you might be doing. Like a Richard Branson back in the day with his mobile phones or trains or whatever he got into was all about, I'm looking after the little guy. I've got a higher order purpose here where I'm going to look after the little guy. That's what my company's all about. And it was interesting talking to Dilhan on this podcast was he talked about understanding just over a decade ago that the government told him that he was employing more people with disabilities than anybody else in the country. He was able to, help people in the various parts of their business get incredible jobs. And he said, I've made it my mission now to try and grow my company as strongly as I can so that I can employ as many people with disabilities as I possibly can. That's a slightly higher order purpose. Not everyone can get there. Not every company needs to get there. But it's important to understand on your journey where you're at across those 5 pillars and where your competitors are at. And are you playing in a clear space, or where you think you should go as a company, you're actually just going to go headlong, straight up, even more competitively with your customers? So really important to understand the journey you're on and the journey your competitors on. We also get asked about what else can we learn from our competitors, not just on where they're at with their journey. What else can we learn? Well, the first thing you can learn is, is their offering, whether it's a product or service, is it seen as the best in the market? Is it seen as second best, third best? Where are you compared to them? Is there something else you could offer to get an advantage? So clearly you've got to look at product. The other one is about price. Where some companies like to be the cheapest, some companies like to be the most expensive, some companies like to be in the middle. Again, understanding where your competitors are and where their pricing's at is critical. You also should have a look at what sort of customer experience they're offering. Now, if I think about technology companies, probably the best experience any of us have ever had is walking into an Apple store. We walk in there, it's a beautiful balance between a human experience and a digital experience. Once they've got your email address or phone number, they know who you are. You go in there and you might just need a new plug for your Mac or a new plug for your iPad. And you go in there and it's all quite seamless, and someone appears mysteriously from downstairs with the product, and they literally hold their phone out and you tap tap your card or your phone on their phone and you've paid and you walk out and you have quite an incredible customer experience. Now, others deliberately go, you know what, we're going to have a very low touch customer experience. We're going to be a pure e-commerce player. We're just going to, send stuff in the mail. We're not going to have, all of those bells and whistles. These are all choices. Strategy is all about choice, but you can learn from your competitors. I'm always looking for which competitors are growing the fastest and why have they got an advantage? Is it their product or service? Is it their price? Is it the customer experience that they're delivering? Is it just that they're really trusted and reliable and deliver on time every time? So that's some of the things that we encourage our clients to look at when they're analyzing their competitors and then truly understanding how they might be different, because that's one of the big things that we get asked is, how are we different? We talk about being different, but I'm not sure that we truly are. And differentiating yourself is critical. Differentiation drives margin. It drives profit margin for you. If you're seen as more different than your competitors and you've got a bit of an advantage, then people usually are willing to pay a little bit more for that. And, we encourage everybody to unpack why they're different. It's not just, we're different because of our customer service, and then you look at everyone else and you realize that everyone else's customer service is the same. Or you look at them and go, we've truly got the best product or the best service in the market. And then you look at it carefully and you go, I'm not sure that we do have. So you need to understand what those drivers are. Learn from your competitors, really important to understand what they're doing. Zig when they zag, as they say. But it's a really important part of business planning is understanding your competitors and understanding how you can be different. So hopefully that's given you a little bit to think about, and thanks again for listening.
24-hour business plan.